Okay, guys, welcome to Tea in Transit. It is Saturday, May 4th, 6:36 a.m. I love when the time does that. In Maui, Hawaii. And currently we have the sun in gate right here, 2.2, and we have the earth in gate 1.2. So if we click on this right down here, we'll get to see the gate name, which is the name of gate 2, which is the direction of the self. The receptive is the name in the I Ching. And the specific line name, the second line of the receptive, is the genius, which is the unconscious and unlearnable alignment of stimulus and response. And we have this or that. The exaltation is the inner strength and focus to realize a natural gift for unlearnable knowing. Unlearnable knowing, which this is something that I've actually constantly come up against, because I get people reaching out often asking me to teach them about human design, and I've always struggled with teaching human design for a couple of reasons. Number one, because the Jovian Archive teaches human design, and they're like the source of it. And while I do believe in mutations and people like myself who kind of learned rogue, I did learn from the Jovian Archive through their books and their content, although I never took an official class. But learning the unlearnable knowing, right? This is like an innate sense of direction. It's not something that you can teach people, and that, I believe, is the reason why I was able to just pick up the books and start learning. And we all have a sort of unlearnable knowing within us, and this gate here is, part of it. At least this here is the inner strength to focus and realize that, right? To acknowledge that we have a natural gift for an unlearnable knowing. And then on the polarized side, we have genius as madness, knowledge exclusively as power for the enhancement of ego, the delusion that knowledge is power. So rather than being able to acknowledge this gift and this inner knowing, and then recognizing that it has to be then put into action in some sort of capacity, the polarization is this exclusive acknowledgement of knowledge as the power itself. And really, power is not, ideas are not necessarily power, as we've all seen, in human design. Like, we've all had great ideas, whether they were ours and they came from a defined or undefined manner. But unless there's some kind of invitation, or unless there's some kind of opening, unless there's power being supplied by the physical world, these ideas never really fully get to manifest. And this is something that I loved about human design when I first got into it, is this understanding that, the mind needs the emotion and the body in alignment in order to manifest. And it actually can manifest even when they're not in alignment. Like, they can be like a janky kind of aligned way and still manifest, but those are not typically manifestations that end up sticking, if you will, or there's some kind of flaw with them. And so when you have the emotions, the mind, and the physical body aligned with the thoughts, to me, that's really where this, the exaltation in a way is kind of the acknowledgement of, like, oh, okay, the knowing is there. Now that the knowing is there, is the physical alignment there, and are the emotions in alignment? Because if all of those things are there, and there's a proper invitation or something to respond to, or a proper 28 days, or a proper point of initiation, again, one of the human design strategies, then this can be implemented. And so one of the ways that this could show up, right, if we zoom in here, the 1 is up here, sorry, the 2 is down here, and this is what we're talking about. The 14 is a gate you may or may not have, right? So if we look at my chart, I have the 14. So 14, from my understanding, is really this capacity for execution, this capacity to gather resources and to sort of like make something happen, to like execute something. 14, if we go down here, we wanted to, we can look at the channel of the beat and understand the entirety of this channel, which is about seeing the right direction and providing direction to empower others, right? So the identity center, that's this one right here, is going to provide the fixed individuality and the fixed direction. And then the sacral center is bringing the source of vital energy, which when combined with this G right here, creates this mutative, the beats, this mutative channel that allows us to empower our own direction, right? So this is something for me that I don't normally have, right? Like if I were to turn the transits off, right? If we were to leave the transits section right here, which going to my chart, I'm a reflector. But as soon as I look at myself through the transits, what I'm going to see is that these transits, and right now I only have the sun and earth turned on, just to make it simple. But the sun and earth transits, which are where 70% of the conditioning factors of the transits come from, that is turning on my G and my sacral, which are not normally on for me. And so this is going to create an opportunity for me to experience my G and experience my sacral through the lens of the transits. It doesn't mean that I have a defined sacral, doesn't mean that I have a defined G. It means that there is identity and there is sacral energy in my field, and it's I'm being conditioned to that. But as you can see, if we go forward a little bit, that changes. The sun and the earth right here, earth is going to move to here, sun is going to move to here. It changes. So what we have with this is, again, an opportunity to experience the conditioning as though like a friend were staying with us, but that they're eventually going to leave, right? And I can do certain things while my friend is here with my friend because of the circuitry that's available to us. And for me specifically, this has really been about experiencing walking in the right direction, which for me has a lot to do with some of the rhythms and patterns that I've noticed myself in the past couple months. I've been using my 14 to empower a sort of mutation away from them. And this actually, T in transits, this is something that I used to do months ago. And this too now is helping me to see, and I'm experimenting with it, what new patterns, what new things, what new direction for me is going to be important, just as well as analyzing some of the directions in other areas of my life that I've been moving in. And so again, this is like a window opening up, but then when it closes, that is going to be open again. That center, the 2 is going to be open again. I'll be left with the 14. One of the reasons it's important to track these transits is because, for instance, when this transit is over, and when I lose the sense of direction, right? When I lose the sense of direction or the knowingness of that I don't have the direction, right? This might cause me to frantically look around for somebody else to provide me with direction rather than shifting my awareness with the transits and moving on to the next theme. So with that being said, I'm going to turn my chart off again, make it nice and clean, and we're going to move on to gate 1. So gate 1, self-expression, and these are this is the initial polar opposite, because if you look at this I Ching right here, it's all yang lines, and if you look at this I Ching right here, it's all yin lines. Okay, so these are perfect mirrors for each other, and naturally, because the sun is the source of neutrinos, or the primary source of neutrinos, that is blasting through our bodies and then through the sun. And it's a stream of neutrinos. So there's activity and programming that's happening from the point of the sun into the universe. But this is a really special one, even though it's not the beginning of our rave calendar. This is a very special transit because it's giving us, again, these insights into direction and creativity, which are creativity is the primary masculine element, and direction is, or receptive, the ability to sense a direction, is the feminine element. So we'll go to gate 1 now, which is self-expression and the creative. Love is light. With individuality, we are dealing with a number. Wow, this goes so far. This is another thing I love about neutrino design is that the default I Ching just gives us this. Yeah, which this is plenty of information for you to wrap your head around. But you can upload the custom I Ching, which has been kind of like extracted from various sources, a lot of them being the Jovian archive, and you can get a lot more information out of it. For instance, just even in the line name, this is a decryption of the line name itself. Now, if we're looking at the gate, and actually I've never read this, so let's read a couple paragraphs. So with individuality, we are dealing with a number of things. First of all, we are dealing with people that are not designed to be interfered with. And individual gates, you do not allow anybody to interfere. We are in the lower trigram here, so the individual here does not even expect that there is somebody that is going to interfere with defined centers. And this is speaking to not necessarily in the context of transits, but if you have gate 1 defined in your chart. Now, when the transit is there will be that energy, but it does not mean that it is how you say that is how you are supposed to be. Like, that energy will be there. It will be with other people. It will be showing up in other people. You're able to use it while it's there. But the trick with that is that, you don't want to become conditioned, how you say, too much to the transits and just be on this wave of transits, because that would be similar to like pushing your boat out and just drifting with the currents rather than having your own direction. So very important. The other thing is that all individuals suffer from the chemistry of melancholy. All individual is rooted in happy and sad cycles. Unique individual expression or mutation is not something that happens all the time. Every day, there's a process built into the foundation that says this is something that has to be waited for. And in waiting, there can be a great deal of turmoil. So melancholy, part of these channels, is all of this right here that my cursor is going over, all of that is individual circuitry. This is part of individual circuitry, the integration lines, these two down here, the 3955, the 3828, and then also 5720, and then the 1222. All of this circuitry is designed so that is, and the melancholy, it's that hopeless feeling, and it's like, oh, I don't know what's going on. It's not something to be avoided. Those are like the pools and the pots that are going to actually transform you. So I'm not going to go through and read all of this, but that was really interesting. I love that this is, there's so much information in neutrino design now, but we're going to look at what we usually look at, which is the exaltation and detriment. So Venus exalted as a symbol of beauty, the required harmony between established values and ideals that enriches inspiration, self-expression conditioned by ideals and values. Detriment is desires and passions have their place, but not at the expense of creation. Self-expression limited by desires and passions. So, curious about this. So what we're doing is we're polarizing the concept of creativity and creation. And on one end, we have ideals and values from the exaltation and how that enriches inspiration and creation. And on the other hand, we have desires and passions. I want to be a creator. I will suffer in order to be a creator. Rather than I will tend to the values and ideas that allow me to create and enrich my inspiration. It's like wanting heat from the fire without putting wood in first. So understanding that creation has to do really with an expression of ideas and values and not necessarily desire or passion, which one of the things that I love about the word passion is that it's totally misconstrued by pretty much everyone. Passion of the Christ, I'm passionate about this relationship, and I don't want it to be such a struggle. Like, passio means to suffer, which is the root word. Passio, to suffer. So passion, to be passionate about something is to be willing to suffer for that thing. Now, not to say that in this situation that you shouldn't be willing to suffer for your creative process, because that's not going to help the creative process, but you ought to be more passionate about your ideals and your values, because that is the thing that's going to really enrich creation, not the passion itself. to suffer for your art alone, in a way, leads to like selling out, as opposed to suffering for your ideals and your values. That's holding on to the things that actually make you you. Of course, we're talking about the G, so we're talking about identity and direction. We're talking about love. Excuse me. And this, after all, is creation as a primal force, the energy potential to manifest inspiration without limitation. Very exciting. Very exciting. So this one might show up again. You might have the 8 over here in the throat. And if you have the 8 in the throat, suddenly it's like, oh, wow, I want to create more than I usually do. Right. And with that creation, there might be a little bit more melancholy. There might be a little bit more passion. There might be a little bit more suffering. There might be a little bit more focus on ideals and values that isn't normally there. And there's nothing wrong with it, but eventually it is going to go away. And by eventually, I mean, the line of this day is going to go away later on this afternoon for me. And the gate of this is going to go away in 4 or 5 days, I think on the 8th or the 9th. And so, again, just an opportunity not to become, just to experience it and use what's there, but to not get too attached and not really build anything on these transits that needs that thing to continue going, right? Like get a glimpse at it, like a satellite moving across the earth. You can see a part of the earth, but then once you go past that part of the earth, you're not going to see it again. You're not going to experience it again until you come all the way back around the earth. And, you'll get a couple opportunities to do it, literally a couple. You'll get this one, and then halfway through the year, you'll get this again, except the earth will be over here in the 2 and sun will be in the 1. So what we have again is the receptive force raining down into the cup of the creative force. And so we're collecting creative energy in the cup of, we're collecting receptive energy in the cup of creativity, which is a nice way to just sum it up. So with that being said, it is time to go to the gym. Thank you guys so much for coming through. Special shout out to Soul Prospering and Dragon, as they have been some of the OGs here and longtime supporters. We have a membership, and they are in that, and all of that goes towards making this server better. It goes towards supporting the work that we're doing here with Neutrino Design, and also with my own brand here with Reiki Marco. Let's see who else I want to recognize. Chris also has been here since the beginning, a moderator. And then for the new people, Katie, Magic, and Finja. Finja, I've been seeing you in the chats, and I'm kind of just coming back to the server. I've been away for a little bit. My my home office got destroyed back in November, and so I got a bus now, which is amazing. I upgraded, but I'm still finding my way back into the server. But Finja, I've been seeing you. Very active in this server, and really what I want with this server, it's not so much about education. I'm not looking to create the next Jovian archive. It was more about creating an open pad where people can land and contrast experiences and relate and connect with each other. And so part of the intention is to create a stream where we can use Neutrino Design as a point of education, and then use this server as a point of connection, because Neutrino Design actually does have a cool little feature where it'll connect you with people based off of your charts. But again, this is something that's a little bit more free form, open world. And then of course my ultimate and eventual goal is to gamify human design in a way that is exciting and accessible to younger generations. So that way we can have 14, 13, 12-year-olds experiencing transits and collecting body graphs and learning about themselves as though they were playing Pokemon Go. And it's still in again, just a liquid kind of idea, but I announce it in a way to rally anyone with relevant skills and capacities to to our side so that we can bring this thing to fruition. So yeah, it's something that I was like, realized I just need to start talking about. It's dope, and I honestly don't care if someone steals the idea, because like I don't necessarily want to be the one to make it. I just want to be involved in making it, because I know that, you know, with my 26, with my 22, with my cross of rulership, everything, that I can help make it the best. So with that being said, right, that would be so dope. Katie, great to be here. Love the energy. Thank you for your wisdom. Much love to you, Katie. To everyone here, blessings and love to you. Have a lawfully excellent Saturday, and I will see you tomorrow for some more tea and transits. Aloha.